Welcome back to another edition of the Buffalo Fatherhood Initiative podcast. As you can see, we are not at our traditional place. We are at the 5th annual Buffalo Fatherhood Initiative Conference, Healing Invisible Wounds, and I'm joined by my guest today, Dr. Armon Perry.
How are you today?
Good. I appreciate you coming down. Tell folks where you coming from.
Yeah, well, I'm a professor at the University of Louisville in Louisville, Kentucky. We participated in the conference last year, had such a really great time. I'm looking forward to all of the proceedings for this year, and I'm appreciative of the opportunity to come back.
We're glad that you could be here. You were well received last year. We a lot of our guests were raving about your content and presentation, which is why one of the reasons why I wanted to have you back. And I think the topic of talking about Black love and the Black relationships, fatherhood, all those things are even more the reason why we wanted to hear more from you and why you do what you do, and what are some things that you're seeing as it relates to like healthy relationships, specifically among Black couples, you know, the more traditional mom and dad and so forth.
Sure. Well, there's a lot going on, but at the same time, there's not a lot going on. So what I mean by that is, obviously, people are involved in relationships. To be closely connected to others is just a part of the human experience. But what I found is that, unfortunately, for a lot of our people, specifically for a lot of Black people, and there's a lot of Black youth, they don't have parents either willing or able to talk to them and socialize them around relationships, and more specifically, healthy relationships. And so one of the things that my team back home is interested in doing, we actually have a healthy relationship and sexual health intervention for 16 to 24-year-olds.
Okay.
And what we're doing with that work is we're trying to introduce young people to what a healthy relationship looks like, trying to help them understand what the danger signs of less than healthy relationships looks like, so that they can be in a position to make informed decisions about who it is that they spend their time with and how far they're willing to go with their relationship.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you guys look at things related to like IPV and domestic violence and so forth.
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest things, right? Helping young people understand what violence looks like, because again, a lot of people know and they think that violence is only extended to physical violence, but we also know there's relational violence and there's also psychological damage that can be done just with the use of negative talk and negative words and so on and so forth, manipulation, coercion, that sort of thing. So again, it's those types of things, helping young people understand the wide range of situations and scenarios they can find themselves in, but not just looking at the negative, but also looking at, well, what are some of the protective factors, what are some of the pro-social aspects of relationships, and how it is that they can distinguish between the two.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I was just joking before we signed on Dr. Armon's book, Black Love Matters. If you don't have this, please get a copy. I'm not done yet reading mine, but I plan on soon. I should have done it before it came. That probably would have made me look better. But tell the audience a little bit more about why Black Love Matters, and what was some of the inspiration behind the book.
Sure. So Black Lives Matter is a qualitative study where I followed a group of African-American men for a period of 4 years. So this was a really a labor of love. 4-year study, following the guys, interviewing them multiple times, tracing the ebbs and flows in their relationships. The motivation behind it was, again, we know that relationships matter, right? My primary interest is in fatherhood, and we know that the two main pathways that men take to take active roles in their kids' lives are either marriage or having at least an amicable or respectful co-parenting relationship with their child's other parent. And so relationships matter, right? Because those are the ways that men take, again, active roles in their kids' lives. And so I was interested in learning more about what Black men think about romantic relationships and marriage. And so that was the motivation. Found it really surprising that guys were so willing to be open and forthright and transparent about their relationships. I expected them to be a little bit more elusive and a little bit more reluctant to share, but to my surprise, they were really open, and we got some really rich data out of it.
Okay. Wow. Well, I'm thinking about, the importance of this, because I didn't grow up seeing like healthy relationships with my parents. My parents were young when they had me, 18, 19. And their relationship was rather volatile and toxic, we'll say nowadays, where my father verbally abusive and at some point physically abusive to my mother, and they weren't married. And so I didn't see what a healthy relationship looked like. So I got married around the age of 24. And although I didn't experience what a healthy relationship looked like, my wife did. Her parents married 20 plus years, you know, healthy relationship. And I know that can be relative, but she has a better, you know, perspective than me. So some of it, what I experienced was kind of her, like, not training me, but helping to teach me how, you know, what a relationship, healthy relationship should look like, right? And so I knew not to be verbally or physically abusive, but the romantic side of a relationship was very elusive to me.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of things that I'm trying to learn. So I appreciate, you know, the work that you've done in this area for men like me who are trying to learn, you know, on the job, so to speak.
Absolutely. I think once you get into it, one of the things you'll be pleasantly surprised by is there's a discussion, a conversation there about this notion of intimacy, which is what you were essentially describing a few minutes ago, right? When you're talking about the romantic side of a relationship. How is it that you get close to your partner, right? And not just physically close to your partner, but emotionally close to your partner, and vice versa. And so I'll be interested to know, so you're interviewing me, but I have a question for you though, right? So you talked about getting married at 24, and in a contemporary society, that's relatively young.
It was young, yeah.
So you got married at a young age. You talked about coming from a family of origin that wasn't the best in terms of modeling, but your wife's family indeed had a model. Were you intentional about seeking out someone who had that in place?
No.
So it just happened?
It just happened.
Gotcha.
I always felt more of a bent toward being in a monogamous relationship. And as I got older and in the church and stuff like that, I would, you know, see a couple of guys who had like those more stable relationships, and that became something that I desired. But no, I did not actively seek out.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. The reason I mention it, because again, I'm thinking about our healthy relationship and sexual health intervention, and one of the things that we would tell our young people is that if you find a partner who does come from a family of origin where that sort of a stability is in place, that is a feather or a point in their cap, right? Because again, what it suggests is what you were alluding to, which is the idea that those are people who know what relationship looks like, and they know that they're going to be ups and downs, and these are people who come from places and have come from situations and families where commitment and dedication is something that they have seen and can manifest because of the ways in which they have seen it modeled for them. So
Right.
it's very, very important, which is the reason why we do the work, to model that for more and more people, so that the next generation, we don't have as many people sitting here saying, well, I came from a family that didn't have that. We'll have people saying, well, no, my family did have that, and I was able to partner with someone who also had that, and we can build a scaffold off of that so that we can magnify that impact in the community exponentially.
Right. I love that. Listen, if you don't already have it, again, get Black Love Matters by Dr. Armon Perry. Learn more about, you know, building these authentic relationships. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
Coming all the way from Louisville. Appreciate that.
Glad to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.